Hello, everyone. Welcome to Embody Prosperity, a retreat designed for women entrepreneurs. This is for visionaries, leaders, healers, coaches, transformational facilitators, and anyone who is really seeking to embody their natural state of prosperity in all facets of business and life. The potent conversations held within this sacred container will act as a portal, inspiring new ways of shifting your awareness and elevating your inner frequency so that you can attract the abundance that is your birthright and the abundance that you already are. Today, I have the honor of introducing to you a dear friend and colleague, a fellow creatrix of summits, and someone who facilitates healing and deep transformation through various shamanic practices, wisdom traditions, such as breath work, astrology. Amazing, amazing work she does. And it's so amazing to have her join us today. It's such a pleasure for me to introduce you to Mar Guerrero. Welcome, Mar.
Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you so much for organizing this in these important times, right? So thank you.
It's such a pleasure to have you, Mar. And I can't wait to get into your talk. So, but quickly before that, I'm going to read your bio. So Mar Guerrero is a shamanic breathwork facilitator and interpreter of the cosmic patterns, meaning an astrologer with a special focus on shamanic astrology. She's also a Reiki master and a tarot reader. Mar has a master degree in literature and applied linguistics, and she has been teaching at university and other educational systems in different countries around the world. Now she is based in Thailand. Diving into her own soul journey has taken her to facilitate and hold space for others' transformational processes. She is deeply called to inspire others, the courage needed to transform wounds into medicine for themselves and for the world. Trusting that human beings are capable to manifest the impossible because we are possible together. She founded Almachemy with that intention, and we are not meant to do this alone, she says. And it's so true, Mar. It's so yes. True. And that's why I love creating collaborative communities and movements like this, because where more minds than just one come together, more hearts come together, more souls come together, it just creates that extreme power and magnetic force of healing around the world. So yeah, I'm so excited to journey into this talk with you today. And your talk is called Astrology Alchemy to Embody Your Magnetic Power. And so beautiful. So, but Mar, before we get into that, would you want to tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, maybe some influences you had when you were growing up, maybe some passions you had or desires that you already had inside of you that brought you to where you are now as a successful female entrepreneur?
Thank you. Yes, I would love to share. And also like the struggles. I'm very into like going into what sometimes is difficult because it also shows us why it's difficult. We are changing a whole paradigm. And for me, when I was in university and everything, I always was very interested in creativity. So like I paint, I write, and I could see I wanted to learn like every subject. And then in university, you need to choose between studying more humanities or science. And I wanted to do both, but you have to choose. So I felt that my whole potential was always put into a box, that I couldn't explore the whole fullness of being me because of the system. The same in relationships. It was like the normal traditional relationships, men, women, don't work for me in the sense of like, you are mine for the rest of our lives together. And there was this sense of this, like I wasn't satisfied. And in a way, I was successful. Like I was working at the university. I was going to conferences internationally, doing my PhD in cultural development and how the students learning Spanish could see themselves in a different way. But always inside, there was this sense of this is not enough. I'm putting my students into boxes as well. So everything that I didn't want the system to do to me, I'm doing to them. So how do we stop this? And then some point with my PhD wasn't possible to keep going because I had disagreements with my advisor. And it was just that the project, I needed to learn what I needed to learn. And then it was such a process to let it go. And astrology was what explained to me why it was so difficult to just follow the system, why I have this contradiction and this inner battle inside of me, and how this inner battle is also a force for creativity. Because when you have something that is contradictory, sometimes what is being asked for you is to find the way to do both, not this or that, but both at the same time. And there is when you create a third. And so that was the whole process of like starting, and then also like personal healing with personal stories that I'm kind of like allowing that to just say this is okay, but I'm not 100% that anymore. Like moving away from the victim, moving away from I don't know. I feel the feminine is so powerful that we are the ones sometimes allowing our power to be just deemed or diminished. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as you're speaking, I was wondering about, I mean, I don't know too much about astrology, but I follow astrology. I follow my own chart and readings for the week and that kind of thing. But I'm wondering, was there anything you were saying that there was a lot of contrast or conflict within your chart or your own personal astrology? What was something that was like prominent in your chart, like maybe that, I don't know, that you could share that was symbolizing that conflict?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's why that's the core, right? Like anything, astrology for me is like a framework, a language that helps me understand what is my soul longing. Mm-hmm. And many times when I do reading for people, I just confirm what they already know. It's just kind of like telling them it's okay to be you. Don't fight with yourself, because sometimes it's like we feel this tug of war, right? Like we need to choose between one side or the other side. So in my case, I have a lot of Aries that is very entrepreneur, right? It's like me and the passion. So if I don't have passion for my work, I get very drained, much more than other people. I need to every day really believe on what I'm doing. And it's very, very visceral, primitive sometimes in a way. And then I have a lot of Libra that is the other, listening. And so it's three planets, and then a Capricorn moon that makes like a T-square. So anybody who knows about astrology knows that this is a very tense pattern. But it's a very tense pattern of modalities that are the same. The cardinal signs start and they are the ones initiating. But I wasn't allowing myself to initiate because I didn't agree with the whole business world or the whole corporate world. So it's like anybody who sees my chart will say, oh, you could be the CEO of something, but I never wanted to. So then I became more academic. But in the academia is the same. We are producing papers. We are not really creating. So Aries is very like instinctive. I never know exactly what I'm going to say until it's the moment. And then I'm talking, and then you just kind of like smell the energy, and then you say, okay, this is what is happening, right? And then my Capricorn moon is very structured, so it sees the big picture. So understanding all the pieces and bring them together. Like for me, for instance, when I was creating my summit, the name was I Am Possible. And it's this idea of every time that they tell us that our dreams are impossible. And I was always feeling that everyone was just telling me, you are not possible. Like, I want to write novels and I want to do this and I want to do that. And everyone's like, no, you cannot. And it was, yes, I can. So I'm going to create a summit that is bilingual. I invited like 40 people. I did the subtitles. It was crazy. Like, you that know how much work is a summit, imagine the triple up.
Right, I know.
The subtitles
that is
was
impossible right there. You did.
Yes. But it was such a portal to do it, because this is why now I'm here talking to you, because I stepped up and I did that, and now I'm in a group of people that I get invited into other talks and other summits in Spanish and English. I feel I'm like a bridge between the languages. So every time I try to choose, because I'm always very aware of my accent, right? It's like, oh, if I were more native sound speaker in English, I could do more in English. But it's what makes me at the same time, right? It's like I'm offering something that is different. And that is the same for every single woman who is listening to us. That thing that you are giving birth, the business, your projects, your books, everything is not anywhere, because you are the one who is creating it. So for me, it was a little bit frustrating to see why people are not doing what I have in mind, like all my visions, because I am the one who has to bring them to the world.
Yes, exactly. So powerful. And what about this astrology alchemy that you speak of in your title? Can you explain a little bit more about that? Is that something that is a creation of yours? Is that something you studied? Tell us more about that.
Yes, alchemy is a very ancient practice and knowledge and science and art, right? And it's this idea that we join the soul with the spirit. And the spirit is more a masculine path of transcendence of the body, and the soul is more in the body, like you want to bring the spirituality in your everyday life. And it's a very feminine path that we don't have so many models of. No, we are doing it now, right, as we go, because it was lost. So most of the spiritual traditions are very masculine in a way, that the search is to transcend and to not to incarnate anymore. And another thing in alchemy that for me is very interesting is that you need material, like a prima materia, massa confusa is called. Like, you need something to work on. And that for me are your wounds, your trauma, your pain. That is what you're working on. So instead of seeing the process as healing, because healing sometimes has the idea that there is something broken. And this was something within me in my whole personal story, many, many years, that I felt I'm broken. So nobody's going to love me, because how I'm going to overcome this? And then it's like, no, I'm not. This is a power. My soul chose this chart, this experience to have something to work on. And then this is the idea that you read in the bio of transforming our wounds into our medicine. Wherever we struggle with in our life is also what makes us able to hold a space for other people that have similar experiences. So for instance,
it's just so powerful right there. Even just that, it's just transforming our wounds into medicine, like let that soak in, because our wounds are our medicine. There are our unique gifts. And it's like, yes, if we can really transform those challenges into our powers, like how amazing, that's true leadership right there. So sorry, I cut you off, because I just
no.
kind of take a moment to really absorb that truth.
Yes. And I'm not saying it's not painful. And this is why the shamanic breathwork here comes into the picture. In the retreats, in order to be a facilitator, as I am, we needed to do 2 retreats of 2 weeks each one. And it's a container of 2 weeks, yelling, crying, kicking pillows, and it's painful. It is really painful. You go through every time that anything has happened to you in this life, in past lives, forever. And it's something that I know if I go to another retreat, more things are going to come into the surface because we have so much pain accumulated for so many centuries and millennia. So it's okay. But then is what do you do with that? Are you going to stay in the pain the whole time? I think there is a part in the journey that is okay. So if anybody feels I am in the moment that just feeling my pain is enough, it's okay. You can be there for the time that you need. But then there is a time, and here is where creativity comes for me. You take the pain and you create a book, a story, a business, you help others. So then there is the alchemy. You're doing something with that masa confusa, like with all that mess that you didn't know what to do. And then you create beauty. So in one of the journeys in shamanic breathwork, I was searching for my mission after the PhD. Because for me, the PhD was like, this is why I'm here in the world. I'm going to change the educational system. And when I needed to release that, it was such a humble experience. It's like, no, you're not doing that. So I was searching for what is my mission. And with 3 planets in Aries, for me, having a mission is very important. It doesn't have to be for every person, but for me, it's quite important. So feeling lost is not, because it's Aries, it has so much fire to start things that when an Aries person or a person with a lot of this energy, fire in general works that way. So if you have a lot of fire in your chart, if you don't have a direction, it's kind of like it just gets here. So it gets very frustrating. Mm-hmm. You know? So you don't know where to channel all that energy. And in one breathwork, I felt very clear, like your mission in the world is to transform suffering into beauty. Mm. And that is the role of the feminine. And we need schools that are beautiful for our children. We need hospitals where the person who is recovering open their eyes and see trees and birds. So they want to be in the world. Not these unpersonalized, soulless hospitals, everything. Yeah. And we are the ones doing it, right? It's not going to be done and that's the connection of earth and sky. Mm. We connect with the divine, but we are the hands of the divine as well. And each person has a role. And in that sense, astrology helps a lot to see what is your role. And it's not less important for a person to be a cook just for their family and to be a mother and just be the most wonderful mother in the world. That role is as important as the leader who is having thousands of followers. Mm-hmm. What is important is that we play the role that is our soul calling, not what other people told us that is possible.
Yeah. So beautiful. And what I love so much, Mar, about like even just the breathwork session and how you came to realize that you want to transform suffering into beauty. That really resonates with me. Like that could be a message for me in my breathwork, because that feels exactly like what I want to do too, you know, and I'm sure so many people can relate to that in this retreat. Because that is the way of the feminine, just like you were saying, that is that alchemy, that alchemization of, you know, the pain, the suffering. And I have this prayer that I say every day. And it's like, I am transforming my wounds, which are fear. You know, I had major panic attacks and anxiety and so much fear in my body, just embodied inside of me, stuck energy. And so like my mission now is to like alchemize that fear in my womb, so that it's not only for myself, but it's for, you know, humanity, for the world at large, because we all struggle with that. And I say that every day, and it just reminds me, it's like, as I'm struggling, I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm struggling because I'm here to alchemize it for myself and for others. It's so beautiful. And yeah, the piece around beauty for me is essential too. And when I created this summit and the idea for it, it's like embodying prosperity. It's all about, you know, pleasure, beauty, all these feminine aspects that we are so deprived of, you know, that we're starved for. You know, I know I've been on a journey to fill myself back up with pleasure, with beauty, with, you know, just the purity of nature, and living, you know, by the cycles of creation, and trusting the astrology, trusting the planets, you know, trusting that I'm being gifted and guided and blessed all along the way. It's so powerful. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about, well, you went into it a little bit just now about this, you know, how do we embrace our abundance with the cycles of earth and sky? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. And I was thinking about that as you were talking, because it's also the Venus cycle is very interesting in this sense. And there are many cycles, right? Astrology. And for me, it's very important. I don't feel the planets, we're like puppets from the planets. It's more like there is an astrologer who also always says this sentence, like everything breathes together, like everything is breathing together. So the symbolic that we have, the symbolism that we have been giving to the planets, just reflect back what is already happening within the soul. So it's like a map, it's a language, but it's not that we are determined by what the planets are happening, because that is a danger of astrology that I see it as well. And I'm always very much like, I don't do that kind, like I cannot, because for me there is so much freedom in astrology, in the sense of it's just allowing yourself to be who you are. And in that sense, with the power of bringing into our life magnetism and prosperity and abundance, Venus is a very important planet. And for women, we are the embodiment of Venus, of the feminine. So men have the feminine inside of them, but we are the embodiment of the feminine. And this is like, it doesn't matter what is your sexual orientation and all of this, right? When you are born with a feminine body, there is something about that is part of your path. And in that embodiment of the feminine, there are 12 phases for the feminine. So the ones that have been allowed in the society are more the Taurus, for instance, phase of the feminine. That is the pleasure, the material, a massage, a good food, and that you are the most beautiful Aphrodite, right? That is one of them. And then the wife as well, that is more Libra side of Venus, for instance. This is allowed. The mother, Cancer, Venus, for instance, Cancer moon, is that mother archetype is also allowed in society. But there are many Venuses that are not allowed. So there are many phases of the feminine that we are exploring, like a Scorpio Venus, for instance, is not the sweet one. It's a lot more, it's the witch, is an archetype that is much more tantrika, it goes into what is not allowed in the society, to the edge. And if a Scorpio Venus doesn't allow herself to do that, normally she's not going to attract the abundance into her life, because she's not being the embodiment of her own version of the feminine.
Wow.
Like for me, for instance, I have Venus and Mars together, and it took me a while, even studying it was, okay, Mars in Aries is very easy to see. Mars in Aries is it has anger issues. It goes towards wherever you want, because Mars is very important for women as well, because it's where you take action. Mm-hmm. So Venus listens and receives and attracts without doing anything. And Mars is where you say, okay, I go for it. Yeah. So it's very important that our Mars, our action, listen to our receptive feminine, that it will be more the moon and Venus are more receptive. The problem is that growing up in societies where we are not listening, we are just taking action because other people told us this is what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And then it never works. So I felt it with my own Venus-Mars relation. And now as we are recording, Venus and Mars are together and they're journeying together. So when the summit is aired, there will be a lot of Pisces. So it's a very good moment to receive, not so much to take action. And then later in May, Jupiter moves into Aries. So then is the moment to take action. So this is also how the cycles help. Is there are processes that are personal, there are processes that are collective, and sometimes we have a project and we want to make it happen, very Mars, but sometimes it's just not the time. So we are not allowing ourselves to receive the information that is telling us, okay, now you need to rest. And rest is part of the process of creation, like the gestation, or even, I don't know the word in English, but when you have the land and you just let it rest for years sometimes, and then you go and grow.
It lays fallow. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I never used that word. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And we need sometimes to do that with our own projects. And we feel that's a failure, and it's not. Maybe we need to let it die because that's it. It's time. That is also a process, and it composes, and then it helps us to do something else. But sometimes in a few years, it comes back, and then you're like, wow, now is the time, and it's flowing. So in order to embody our prosperity and our abundance, it's very important astrologically to look at our Venus. Now, if our Venus has strong aspects of planets like Saturn, Pluto, and Chiron, it's going to be difficult for us. It requires a lot more self-love. So and I do have it, for instance, right? And for me, it has been a journey of, it's not that easy to say, okay, I'm going to attract anything I want. It's not that easy, right? There's this tension of having like an opposition to Saturn saying, no, who you are is not okay. You are not worth enough. So many of us have that. When we start, especially if we have any problem with money, with relationships, like with attracting men or like abandonment, and they go away afterwards. When we have all of these, the inner alchemy is that everything starts by you loving yourself 100%. So if you're criticized by other people, you are like,
you let it go. It doesn't affect
you. Let it go. Yeah. And it's not a reaction. This is very subtle, because we can say, no, I don't care. But then inside you're like fighting. It's a very subtle, getting there for me is true mastery. When a person gets there, that truly doesn't, it's not that you don't care, it's that it doesn't question your value. Mm-hmm. When you don't have a good feedback, you are like, you're lost. If you're totally in love with a man, with a woman that is like, this is the person that I want to have in my life, and they go away, and then you say, it's okay. Yeah. I love him, but it's okay. He has the right to choose not to be with me, or to create a space. To get there is very difficult. I'm not saying that I got there or anything, but when you have a Venus that has these difficult aspects, there is a call for you to do the inner work in order to attract the abundance. Like you really, truly need to believe in yourself.
That's beautiful. It makes me think of, so I don't know too much about what my Venus is, conjunct to and all that. I do know that it's in Leo, and I've had very much, I've felt a challenge to be like this embodied leader, I guess, and really express myself. I'm a Libra, not rising. What's it's
The sun.
The sun sign. Yeah, I'm Libra and Taurus rising with Venus in Leo. And yeah, it's like I crave this beauty like Libra, right? And I crave, being the embodiment of the goddess in the world. But and Leo is there, wanting me to be proud and really shout off the rooftops, right? Yes. And there's this part of me that is also like, that slow Taurus who wants just everything to be kind of relaxed, steady, slow growth, but yes, still valuing prosperity and pleasure and good food and all of that. But yeah, I've had that Venus in Leo. I've only started connecting with the power of that very recently. There's actually a speaker on this retreat who she had a workshop called Embody the Empress or Unveil the Empress, and we actually drew our Venus. We drew our inner goddess, and that's when I found out that my Venus was in Leo. And I don't know, I mean, it felt like, wow, this is a powerful Venus. This isn't the lay back and enjoy the prosperity coming to you. This is like, go out there, charge forth and make things happen kind of Venus. So
yes, and believing in yourself a lot. Like the Venus in Leo is like from the heart. So it's like a child. When the children are really like healthy visibility, right? That they do something amazing and you're like, wow, and everyone is clapping. Yeah. But when they do try too hard, then it never works. Right? They are like, look at me. That's like an unhealthy Leo. That, look, so special. I am so special. And then everyone is like, no, you're not. So we normally, with the archetypes, we have both at the same time. We normally have the sophisticated, like amazing side. And then we have a side that is less healthy. Mm-hmm. And normally also the planets within each other, they also talk to each other. So it's like different parts of ourselves that they are having conversations, dancing together. They are being activated by the transits as well. So is a constant dance of movement of like, how can I embrace all the parts of who I am, like the Taurus, the Libra, the Leo, everything, all the time in everything that I do. And then sometimes there is a part of the chart that is more activated. So like we go like in this 2020, 2021, there has been a lot of focus on Capricorn, Aquarius. So that part of the chart, even if you don't have any planets, they are areas of your life that have been having so much energy. Than the Leo side, for instance, Aquarius, the opposite is Leo. So there is nothing in Leo. So it has been more difficult to get there because there is no energy in the transits now pulling us there. Mm-hmm. So that is also very interesting. It's like how our chart and our knowledge or connection with those energies keep evolving as the transits go, as the cycles of life go, and aligning our businesses to these cycles is amazing. Is, I don't know, for me, it's my life work as well with Venus cycle, for instance. My whole business is aligned with the Venus cycle, that it goes like chakra with chakra, and it meets the sun, it dies, it transforms, is following the myth of Inanna.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time it meets the moon, it's like a chakra. And then in the part of the journey that she's now, she's releasing everything that doesn't serve her anymore in a very structural way, because she has a Capricorn overtone. And this is very complex if one tries to understand the technique behind. Okay. So it's just like the soul wisdom. Mm-hmm. So she's releasing. What I mean is that with astrology, there is a part of, if you want to understand mentally everything like this, you're going to be very frustrated because it doesn't work like that. It's some wisdom that needs to sink in, and it takes time, and then you integrate, digest, keeps going, and it's like that. And aligning the business, my Alma Chemi is completely aligned with the Venus cycle in a very natural way. It came like that. Like I created my website, chakra by chakra, and then giving birth. I created I Am Possible Summit, same way. I wanted to co-create another summit with a friend and offering this Venus work together, but then it didn't work. And then at the end of the previous cycle, we created a summit that is called I'm Alive, because for her it's a more embodiment as well of the feminine. And yeah, it's amazing. And in each person is going to work in a different way as well. And this is why businesses need also to open up to different ways of doing it. Like your daily routines, productivity doesn't work the same for every person.
Right. Yeah.
Feminine,
this is what I teach. This is what I teach in my business coaching. It's like aligning to the natural cycle. So primarily we start with our own natural ebbing and flowing cycles throughout the month. And then if we're not menstruating, then we work with the moon, and then but I love this layer of the aligning your business with like Venus's transits through the sky. Like that just sounds absolutely mind-blowing. I love it so much. So Mar, what about, I love asking this question because it's just so telling of the speaker, and we get to know you a little bit deeper. What's the sacred feminine archetype that you feel you embody most closely right now? And I know it's always evolving and changing, and we adopt new archetypes as we're working on different things. But what's an archetype, a sacred feminine archetype that you love to work with and that you feel you're embodying right now in your business and your life?
It's hard to choose one.
I know, it's so hard.
But yeah, for me, it will be the warrior, the spiritual warrior, like a little bit of Braveheart, but in a woman that inspires other people to action. Yeah, that one is the Aries archetype. That is
kind of like Joan of Arc.
Yeah, Joan of Arc. Yeah, something like that. That is like, let's go and let's do this.
Yeah.
But then I also, and this is like, it's hard to separate from my own chart, right? I also have a lot of the wisdom, earthy grandmother energy within me, because I have a Capricorn moon, and the I think Libra is taking me more time, because that is the struggle of my life, to be Aries, to be a warrior in relationships and to fully be independent and like very entrepreneur kind of person with the other. Is something that I do struggle a lot, because when I get very much into my Libra side, I lose my Aries sometimes. And then when I go too much into my Aries side, I'm like, I don't care about other people. So it's been very interesting to kind of like embrace that warrior in relationships, kind of like warrior fighting with other people for something together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in my bio, right? Like, let's do this together. We don't have to do it alone. It's there.
It's there. It's in you. Your soul coming forth. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Beautiful. Well, this has been really, really enlightening and just so fascinating. I love talking about this. I could go on forever, but I know that you have an activation or a ritual that you wanted to take us through to kind of close the session. And did you want to, what would that be? Is that a shamanic breathwork journey?
Yes, a little bit. And also I would like to invite there will be a link to a whole session, because now I'm opening up to offer this online. I've been offering it more in person because I really like the breathwork in person. But lately, my whole life is just telling me, no, your work is mainly online. You like it or not, that's the way, because that's the way to reach an international audience. And then I can do things in person, like retreats and things like that as well. But yeah, I'm opening up to offer breathwork online. And the thing why it's very important to be respectful with the safety as well. So if anybody who's listening to us have like heart problems or any medical issue that is really, especially if it's the heart, if it's like mental issues like schizophrenia, if it's something normal, that's okay. And then also just listen to your body and know if you need to stop or anything. But it is very important that breath work can be very powerful, and just to be aware of it. And it will be just a little bit. So in this part is not that much, but is everyone taking responsibility of all their own health, right? And their own body. And then if your body is telling you, I have enough, that's okay. And then within the breath work, if someone gets like, this one is going to be a short one, so it won't happen. But for the longer session, if anybody is interested, you can get a clinch like this. So it's like what you're holding. So you just allow because it's the tensions, the fear that you were saying, right? That we have it sometimes in the body, and then it gets moving, tinglings, all of these. And then allow this summit will be aired with a lot of Pisces, with a Neptune-Jupiter conjunction in Pisces. Just allow yourself to dissolve. And the ego doesn't like that. Pisces doesn't have an ego sometimes. Like a person with a lot of Pisces, they struggle being here. So everyone now have this call to open up to, we're all one. So it sounds very good, but it is, we are afraid of that normally, of dissolving. Yes.
Yeah, yes. It's true.
Yes. So I will explain the breath work. So in this case, you're breathing in and out through the nose, and is connected. So there is not a stop between inhalation, exhalation. And it's a powerful, it's not, no, it's a strong breath. So it's like this. So you keep going like this, and people can lie down. You can have so this is recorded, so you can stop and then prepare yourself in a space where you can be, please don't be driving or things like that. You need a space for this. And lie down, turn off the lights, and just allow things. So we're embracing this Pisces energy, and just allow messages to come to you. In businesses, sometimes we are so focused on taking action. When we get the vision, we are so focused on taking action that we forget that we keep receiving all the time. So the actions can be flexible and organic. That's the feminine. The feminine is not rigid. The feminine keeps changing. And that's very important to take into account as women in business. That for us, we are not doing this and this is already like set up forever. And no, keep changing. So allow yourself to keep changing, and to embrace that, Pisces. So I will play music and I will tell you when to start the breath work. And you can also light up candles or anything that for you is sacred. The breath work I do is shamanic because it brings, this is a ceremony. It's not just an interview. It's not just, it's a ceremony. So what is it that your soul wants to receive and honor at this moment? So you can start breathing in. And you don't stop between the inhalation and the exhalation. Keep breathing strong, deeply, in through the nose, out through your mouth. Yourself, nature. You keep breathing deeply. Allow yourself to receive a vision, to dissolve into that nature of being the embodiment of the feminine. So you can attract into your life just by being who you are. burn anything that you feel it's time to compose, transform, to alchemize. So whenever you're ready, you can start like moving your fingers, your toes. Breathe normally into your belly to ground yourself. You can take your time for this stretch. And after breath work, it's very good to draw, and you can play music with lyrics. So then that music brings you more into this world and this reality, but you're still half there. And in that you're drawing, more symbols can come through to tell you more insights in what is it for you at this time. And only you can know that.
Oh, thank you, Mar. So beautiful. I'm still coming out of the session.
Yes, it's normal. It's normal. It's hard now to continue with the interview, right? And with breathwork, always like the music, the camera, all the technology gets like it's like also yes now
a different dimension altogether.
Dimensions, and technology is very normal that sometimes it doesn't work at some point, because and it's very important to kind of like set up different ways because the energy gets very high, or I don't know why. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, it was very transformative and very beautiful. And thank you for guiding that. And I guess we can close with your free gift, which you did mention was the free gift of a shamanic breathwork personal private session, right?
Yes. So there will be a session for everyone here, and then also I will be inviting people from my own audience to have a whole session. And I haven't decided yet which day because I'm very Aries and I need to be closer to the time to know when is the right time. So you will see it when you click the link, then you will see the date. If you cannot make it in person, you will still get the replay for a few days, not forever. So the idea is to work in wherever transits are happening at that time. So it will be just in a window of a little bit. And then if you are more interested, you can be in my email list and then receive more. There is a book that is coming up at the end of March, so it will be published already by this time. So I'm part of a book that is called Shamanic Breathwork, and it's a co-creation between different facilitators and our teacher. And it's amazing is how breathwork has transform our lives in different ways, through divorce, through loss of a loved one, through business, through abuse, through embodiment. So you can see different stories of how breath work bring us together as well.
Wow. So powerful. Congratulations on that book. I've seen the cover. It's so beautiful. And I'm so
I know.
excited for you for that to come out and for people to hold it in their hands. Amazing, yes. Amazing. Thank you, Mar, for everything. This has been such a wonderful conversation. And I know our participants of the retreat are probably still buzzing. So maybe we can invite everyone to just, go off, maybe, turn off the technology and go into a more deeper state of receptivity, and like you suggested, maybe draw and try to bring out those symbols and those messages that are wanting to come through. So,
and drink a lot of water. That's very important always when these things. And then the next day I normally also receive messages. So the day after breathwork in the morning is very normal that in the dreams and things, more things can come through. So be open to that as well.
Beautiful. Yes. The emergent power of the feminine, right? It's always evolving, always being born. Yes. All right, Mar. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, a pleasure. A total pleasure. Yeah. I love doing this. So thank you for organizing the summit. I know how much work it is. So it's like, thank you for stepping up and doing your sacred work, because
being my Venus and Leo warrior woman.
For the Venus and Leo. Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you next time. Take care.